Hello, everyone, and welcome to London Business School Wheeler Institute for Business and Development Rethinking Capitalism series. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ioannis Ioannou, and I'm an Associate Professor of Strategy and Entrepreneurship at London Business School. I'm therefore thrilled to welcome a distinguished professor, but also a mentor and a friend of mine to today's webinar, Professor Rebecca Henderson. Today, Rebecca will be speaking to us about what I think at least truly courageous ideas in her recently published book that's titled Reimagining Capitalism in a World on Fire. We have asked Rebecca to make some opening remarks before our fireside chat.
Yanni, thank you very much. I'm honored and delighted to be here, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk about my new book. I've been asked to summarize it in 10 minutes. So that's 28 1.5-hour sessions when I teach it, or more than 300 pages in the book, all of them exciting and dynamic. But let me see if I can give you the basic idea. Capitalism is broken. It is not working as it's supposed to. We have half the world's population saying that capitalism is not working for them. 70% of the US population saying the system is rigged against them. In the US, the bottom 50% haven't had a pay raise in approximately 20 years, and inequality is significantly increasing everywhere else in the world. We have a major environmental problem. The world is on fire. When I wrote the book, California and Australia were literally burning. I think capitalism is one of the greatest inventions of the human race, an unparalleled source of innovation and productivity and opportunity. But it only works when the free market is balanced by free politics and a strong civil society. My reading of the literature in history and development economics and political science is overwhelmingly that a stable, prosperous society, a free society, requires three legs. Yes, the free market, but also a capable, transparent, democratically accountable government, and a strong civil society, a voice for labor, independent judiciary, and a strong free media. I think we have forgotten this in the West. Over the last 20, 30 years, we got so rich and so prosperous, and it was so easy to say, government's the problem, drown it in the bathtub. And I see where that's coming from. I have 25 years of major board experience. I understand that regulations are sometimes a nuisance and that paying taxes is not always fun, but we need the free market to be balanced by government. We need public goods. We need a strong social net, safety net, strong education and health system to ensure that there's real freedom of opportunity. We need decent labor legislation so that the minimum wage is a living wage, so that there are decent benefits like paid sick days off. We need a strong government to regulate pollution. So how do we fix things in a world in which governments are so broken? First, massive social and political movement to rebuild democracy, as I said. But the beating heart of my book is the idea that business has an important role to play in rebalancing capitalism. There are 5 steps business can take. The first is to become purpose-driven, not in the sense of throwing investors out the window. As I said, I serve on major corporate boards. I'm a big fan of giving investors a decent return. But I think it's time to realize that making money and giving investors a decent return is a means to an end and not the end in itself. The end in itself is building a healthy and thriving society. Business needs to relearn that. Secondly, we need to start to build business models that not only create profits, but also address some of the major social and environmental problems we face. My colleague Michael Porter calls this creating shared value, the classic win-win, and I can feel your skepticism. It's not everywhere, it's not for everyone, But in many industries, we are seeing firms build billion-dollar businesses on the basis of the idea that you can do both. So step one, develop a purpose. Step two, create shared value. Step three, whoops, if I do the right thing as a firm, that's great. I can make money. The fact that I'm purpose-driven mobilizes my employees. I might be running a high-road employment system, much more productive, much more innovative. Seems good, but whoops, it's not enough. Even if every firm on the planet pursued those opportunities that can return money and do the right thing, we're not going to solve our problems. Solving inequality requires really investing in education and health and inclusion and wage legislation to make sure the playing field is level. Solving the environmental problems require, redoing the transportation, food systems, rebuilding cities, retrofitting every house on the planet, massive transformation. So step four is, okay, we agreed to cooperate, but there's, Fred and Mary over here, they're not pulling their weight. They're not interested. They are what the economists would call defecting. So how do we make sure everyone cooperates to do the right things? Easy. Two final ideas. One, we rewire finance. Let me just leave that, but we got to rewire the capital markets if this is going to work. And last but not least, we fix the democracy. We address the problems with our civil society. I believe that business has a strong economic interest in rebuilding a balanced capitalism, and that both now and historically, they have been willing to exercise that interest. We are seeing hundreds of firms working with state and local government to enact regulations and policies that benefit the entire society. Why? Because it's good for business as well.